I cried this morning, guys. I 100% cried this morning. I was like, I was really good. I met them at 4 o'clock in the morning at her house, got them picked up, and things were really good. It's about an hour to the airport, and he was kind of in the back seat on the phone, and his mom and I were chatting, and, you know, we started getting closer and closer, and I was like, you know, I'm in my head, I'm like, I'm holding up pretty well. Like, maybe I just made all of this out to just be worse in my head than it really is, because that's a thing that I do. And we started getting closer, and the GPS was like 3 miles. And the first thing I did is I say to his mom, I was like, hey, listen, can you just allow me to be annoying for a moment? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, like, just like the sunscreen, just make sure he's got sunscreen. I don't want him to get burnt. I don't want him to be uncomfortable. You're gonna be at the beach. She's like, yes. I'm like, he's gonna be playing with his older cousins. They you know, jump off the diving boards at the pool and off the edge. Like, is there any way we could just not have him jumping off the edge of the pool at 4 years old? Like, I don't want him to hit his head or collide with other kids. And she's like, yes. And I'm like, you know, if he's out in the sun all day, he might need a break. Like, he might need a nap in the afternoon. Like, he doesn't do naps. So I ran through, I was like, you know, if you take him out shopping, like into Aruba proper, you know, it's a lot of busy streets with a bunch of people and scooters and cars and narrow roads. I'm like, just keep an eye on him. Just make sure, like, he's just near you. So I run through this entire list of things, right, that she knows. She's a better parent than I am. Like, she doesn't need me to tell her these things, but I can't not say them. And she's like, yeah, you know, she's like, I promise you, I will, you know, I will get him home. So we get to the airport, and I'm like, okay, this is good. Like, I'm doing really well right now. And we pull into the terminal, and it's into those places that's like, you gotta, you like pull over, put your flashers on, and drop people off. But there's like it's Boston Logan Airport. It's a pretty big airport. So it's like you got to pull up, put your flashers on, pull into the drop off area, get your luggage out. There's a line of people like honking their horn and shit behind you. And I'm like, oh, good. Like, I'm really good with this. So we pull up, I put on the flashers, I grab all of her bags, I bring them over the sidewalk next to the airport, I drop them off, and I turn around and I see her, but not me. And I said, where's Jackson? Now, the car is like 50 feet away. I just couldn't see him because she was kind of standing away. And she was like, I went to unbuckle him, and he said he wanted daddy to unbuckle him. And at that point, that's when I was like, oh, fuck. So I go over and I unbuckle him. In the morning, when I drop him off at school, we have this ritual where I unbuckle him from his car seat, and when he stands up on my truck, like, he's big enough to climb out of the truck, but it's just this thing we've been doing forever. When he stands on the floorboard of my truck and I stand in front of him, he's as tall as me. So, like, he stands there and I put my arms around him, and then he puts his arms around my neck and I lower him down to the ground. It's kind of like the way we hug before I drop him off at school. And the minute he put his arms around me, I was like, the eyes started to, I started to have some waterworks. And then we got over, and I got him with her, and they were with their luggage, and I gave him a big hug, and I was like, hey, buddy, like, I love you so much. You're like, just listen to mommy and get home to me safely. And he's like, I'll get home safely, daddy. I don't think he knew what it meant, but he was just repeating my words. And then I started to cry, and I got into the truck, and I rolled the windows down, and I waved, and I heard him say, bye, daddy, I love you, kind of as I was pulling away. And I was like, fuck. I just was like, fuck. I just broke down. Yeah. It was like, even just retelling it now, I get a little, like, I could feel it. But yeah, it was good. She sent me some pictures of them at the airport, and then prior to takeoff, him on the plane. And yeah, it was tough. I really am a fucking softie.